Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Darrell Frye, Chairman of the Randolph County Board of Commissioners, and coming to you again this morning as we begin our 11th week of bringing these videos to you. And on behalf of the Randolph County Commissioners, our board, our full board, we thank you for participating and listening and for being a part of these videos. And again, always try to bring you something that's informative. And we have another environmental scientist from our health department today that's going to give you an update on the opening of restaurants and protocols that will be expected to be followed there. I should say here, I'm actually filming this video to you this morning on Monday morning rather than the usual Tuesday. I have an appointment tomorrow out of town on behalf of the county, so I'm filming today. This morning we have 672 cases, and since we last came to you last Thursday, we've had another death. So we're up to 13 deaths in the county now. And Susan Hayes, our health director, will give you a full update in her part of this video when she makes her presentation. We've been following the issues around the George Floyd situation up in Minneapolis. We did have a bit of a demonstration here in Asheboro yesterday afternoon. We had gotten word of it and great cooperation, I want to say, on behalf of the sheriff, Asheboro City Police, our EMS folks, our fire departments. So many helped to make that a safe event. We didn't have what's taking place in some of the other larger areas of the country, even right here in our neighboring cities and neighboring counties around us. So grateful for that. Most of our folks are here to make sure that the Confederate statue was protected, but it was peaceful, as they should be. What has taken place is the incident itself is tragic and unfortunate, and a greater issue, a larger issue relative to our country, but the response has been equally disappointing and tragic also. And we've been able to avoid the looting and the burnings that have taken place in some other areas. And I just compliment our folks that are involved in public safety, law enforcement, for the work that they do and the great cooperation among our departments here that we have in Randolph County. So thank you for that, and we're in the month of June now, really into the summer months, and still wondering just how that will play out, and we'll keep you informed as we go forward. But again, beginning our 11th week and our 4th month of bringing these videos to you. This morning I want to share another little story with you. If you've been following our videos, I think week before last I gave a little story of the Billy Graham crusade and George Beverly Shea and his signature song, I'd Rather Have Jesus. And of course that came out of the Billy Graham crusade that was held in Los Angeles, California back in 1949. I commented then that was a crusade expected to last 3 weeks, and in fact it went for 8 weeks. There was another young man who was involved in that situation and a part of that crusade. His name was Stuart Hamblin. Stuart Hamblin was born in Texas in 1908 and quickly made his way to Hollywood. He was a bit actor in some of the westerns with the likes of Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and John Wayne. But at the age of 18, in 1926, he had the #1 radio show in the city of Los Angeles, California. Stuart was a bit of a maverick, and he was prone to drinking excessively, described himself as an alcoholic. That often led to fights, brawls, and trips to prison. But he was so popular that in most every one of those cases, the radio station would bail him out so they could get him back on the air. So as the 1949 crusade approached, Stuart Hamblin and the radio station decided that it would be a good thing if he went to interview this young evangelist. and see what he was all about and what this crusade was all about. And of course, Stuart had sort of bad motives in what he was doing. He was a skeptic, certainly a non-believer, and he had set up an interview with Reverend Graham. His attempt was to show him off, so to speak, to show him up and to find fault with his ministry. But in that process, Billy Graham won him over. And in that 1949 crusade, Stuart Hamblen accepted Christ as his Savior, a great conversion in his life. And he went on to more stardom and I guess and more success in writing and singing songs. He had a great voice and recorded a number of songs, and wrote a number of songs. Among these, I think you will find very familiar. He wrote This Old House, which became a top hit. Rosemary Clooney, if some of you old-timers like me can remember that name, but made a big hit out of that song. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, ain't gonna need this house no more. Ain't got time to fix the shingles, ain't got time to fix the floor. Ain't got time to oil the hinges nor mend the window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer. I'm getting ready to meet the saints. He also wrote Until Then, My Heart Will Go On Singing. He also wrote Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sun Shine In. And in 1955, that song made number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 songs in the pop song. His songs crossed all genres of music and became popular in all areas and of people that followed those songs. Some of his songs were recorded by the likes of the Statler Brothers, Johnny Cash, Loretta Lynn. I know This Old House, the Cathedral Quartet about 20 years ago had a big hit. George Jones, if you follow that, singing bass, and it became a top hit as well. But Stuart Hamblen had a signature song, just like George Beverly Shea did with I'd Rather Have Jesus. And the motivation for that song came from a conversation that Stuart Hamblen had with his friend John Wayne, his friend John Wayne. And this was after Stuart's conversion. And during their meeting, their conversation, John Wayne asked Mr. Hamblen, would you like to have a drink? And his answer was, no, I don't do that anymore. It's no secret what God can do in the life of a person. To which John Wayne replied, well, Stuart, that'd make a good title for a song. It is no secret. So in less than a week, Stuart Hamblen had written the words to It Is No Secret. And he developed the melody for that song. It is no secret what God can do. What he's done for others, he'll do for you. With arms wide open, he'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. And in 1963, Billy Graham went back to Los Angeles for another crusade. And during that crusade, Billy Graham commented that bringing Stuart Hamblen into the Crusades was a turning point in the popularity of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Crusades. Shortly after his conversion, the radio station fired him because he refused to do commercials for beer. And so he followed the Christianity, he followed the Evangelistic Crusades. And Stuart Hamblen died on March the 8th of 1989 from complications associated with a brain tumor. And Billy Graham did the eulogy at his funeral that day. He is buried in the Forest Lawn Memorial Cemetery in Los Angeles, California. You can find a collection of all of Stuart Hamblen's songs at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. It's part of the Southern Folk Life collection. So Stuart Hamblen had a great conversion and a great change in his life. in a song that we all are familiar with and are still followed today. It is no secret what God can do. He also wrote, as I mentioned, he crossed all genres of music, a song, Remember Me, I'm the One Who Loves You. That song sold over 1 million copies and made a gold record for Dean Martin back in 1965. So Stuart Hamblen left a great mark, and great music and songs that we still enjoy today because of the ministry of Billy Graham and a willingness to see and the ability to see the wrong in his life in a way that God would have him to go. So this morning, it's no secret what God can do. He's been doing it since the beginning of time in all of our lives. And it's no secret what He'll continue to do for us as we go through this pandemic and each day of our life. So let us be positive. Let us know that we're doing this together and we're making progress. And we hope to come out of this shortly and have some normalcy in our life. But trust God and believe. And we thank you again for watching these videos and the others that will follow for your presentation today. Thank you and God bless.
Good morning. I'm Susan Hayes, Randolph County Public Health Director. Today's total case count is 681. We have released 515 individuals from isolation. We have 10 in the hospital and 13 deaths so far. Yesterday we received notice of a COVID-19 outbreak in a second Randolph County long-term care facility, CLAPS Convalescence Nursing Home. At this time, North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services defines an outbreak in a nursing home as 2 positive cases. The facility is doing everything they can to mitigate the outbreak and is working very closely with Randolph County Public Health to have all residents and individuals, employees, tested for COVID-19. This is a precautionary measure and a very important one. Currently, there is still only 2 cases of COVID-19 at the facility, and both cases are in a staff person. The infected employees are isolating at home. Randolph County is working with this facility to conduct contact tracing to determine who else may have been exposed to COVID-19. And the facility continues to implement strict visitor restrictions and infection control precautions to prevent further cases of COVID-19. At this time, no other individuals at the facility have been exhibiting signs or symptoms, and we expect that we will see, hopefully, no more cases. Randolph Public Health has been encouraging long-term care facilities in Randolph County before the outbreak of coronavirus in our county to do all they can to prevent COVID-19 in their facilities. For more information related to COVID-19 cases across North Carolina in nursing home facilities, please visit the North Carolina DHHS website for COVID-19. We are also seeing an increase of testing availability throughout Randolph County. There's a website as well at the NCDHHS location to find my testing place. So if you Google North Carolina DHHS, find my testing place, you will go to that website and you can actually pinpoint the locations in Randolph County that will offer testing. Please don't forget to know your W's. Wear, wait, wash. Wear a face covering when you are in public and cannot social distance. Wait 6 feet apart from others. And wash your hands for at least 20 seconds or use a hand sanitizer to prevent the spread of infection. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Commissioner Darrell Frye and Public Health Director Susan Hayes. Today is Randolph County's 21st video, and we began these videos back in March 24th. Almost 22,000 people have viewed our videos as of today, and we thank you for that. because information in a time of crisis can be a citizen's most valuable resource. And we have used these videos over the past several weeks as an opportunity to spotlight many Randolph County departments, agencies, and organizations, all of which have a unique role in the many challenges faced by our community and your county government in this time of pandemic. And today, our next update will be presented by Jarron Herring. He is a supervisor for food and lodging with the Environmental Health Division of the Randolph County Department of Public Health. Jarron is going to update you on the role of environmental health as they inspect and evaluate restaurants to ensure your health and your safety.
Hi, I'm Jarron Herring. I'm the supervisor with Randolph County Environmental Health's Food and Lodging Program. Before I get started today, I do want to just talk about the importance of public health. You've been hearing a lot from various members of our team here stationed at the EOC. You've had different supervisors and program managers come in to speak, and so I just wanted to kind of put a bow on all of that. So as of 2001, the average life expectancy in the United States from 1900 had increased by 30 years. And while when you speak to many people, they believe that to be due to advancements in modern medicine, in fact, 25 of those 30 years can be traced to preventative efforts in the form of social policies, community actions, and personal decisions targeting infectious diseases, and more recently, through a reduction in chronic disease affecting adults. So in short, this is what public health is responsible for. So as we just look over the last 100 years of history, our life expectancy has increased 30 years, in large part due to what public health is doing. And we just see this continuing as we combat the coronavirus. So I did just want to say a thank you to everybody that is a part of this team and everybody that is working in public health, our doctors and nurses, everybody, thank you so much for your hard work. So as we're now getting started, I want to talk a little bit about my role in environmental health, food, and lodging. So from the time that this pandemic hit U.S. soil, Randolph County has been working hard to equip you, the public, with resources and information on community actions and personal decisions that you can make to help lessen the spread of the coronavirus. So where do I come in? So as I mentioned, I'm with Randolph County Environmental Health's Food and Lodging Program. We do exactly what our name would suggest. We permit, educate, and inspect facilities that either provide food or lodging accommodations for pay. We work with restaurants, hotels, child care centers, schools, nursing homes, food trucks, hot dog carts, summer camps, and bed and breakfast facilities, just to name a few. So what has environmental health, food, and lodging been doing to keep you safe during this coronavirus pandemic? Well, we know that the number one way that COVID-19 is spread is through close contact with other people. For this reason, environmental health, food, and lodging has changed the way that we normally operate. Typically, the vast majority of our workload is spent in the field, conducting inspections or making consultative visits, so we spend a lot of time in contact with a lot of people. Prior to this pandemic, our workload consisted mainly of that, field work and inspections. But as new information became available, we began to work with both state and local guidelines as it relates to field work, reducing the amount of time that we've spent in the field where we could potentially be agents to help spread this virus. So we've lessened the number of contacts that we've made, and we've lessened the amount of time that we're in facilities. Early on, when North Carolina first started to see the widespread rise in cases, Randolph County Environmental Health field staff began to shift from an inspection-based focus and began making more consultative contacts with our establishments. We saw the importance of becoming an avenue for accurate and up-to-date information for our establishment operators. As restaurant operations changed, we visited with our operators to ensure that their new operating procedures were still ones that would keep the citizens of Randolph County safe. I would say that as we made those visits, we were very impressed with our operators to see the steps that they had taken to prevent the spread of this disease while simultaneously still meeting the old rules and standards. So good. Just wanted to give kudos to those establishment operators that have been working so closely with us throughout this time. Since those early days, we've continued to keep our ear to the ground for updates and information that could be shared with our establishments. As cases continued to rise, our consultative contact shifted from in-person visits to the more of an electronic format. But we've still been available to our operators to answer any questions they may have, advising them on how they can meet rules and regulations that they traditionally have operated under, while still complying with executive orders that are coming out. Now that we've entered into phase 2, environmental health, food, and lodging is again looking to change the way that we're operating. As customers look to return to dining areas and resume visiting various facility types, food and lodging will be resuming our routine inspections of establishments. However, there will be changes that are made to make sure that we're keeping ourselves, our operators, and the public safe while doing so. So some of those changes are as follows. Inspections shall be done while maintaining social distancing at all time. You guys have all heard the word social distancing. This is one of the most important ways that we can prevent the spread of COVID-19. All inspectors shall wear lab coats that will be changed out after inspections to prevent potentially carrying the virus on our outer clothing. Environmental health teams shall conduct inspections while wearing a mask so that we don't potentially lead to someone else getting sick, as we could potentially spread droplets carrying the virus. All equipment that we carry into an establishment shall be wiped down with a sterile disinfectant alcohol wipe. This will be done after each inspection. And as always, Randolph County's environmental health specialists shall dedicate ourselves to proper hand washing, and frequent hand washing at that. It's one of our favorite things to preach on normally, and it's one of the most important strategies that we have to prevent the spread of coronavirus. So we want to make sure that we're washing our hands for at minimum of 20 seconds, and that we're doing it anytime that there's a change in activity, change in task, or a frequently contacted surface has been touched. So we'll be doing a lot of hand washing. And lastly, once we finish up an inspection or a visit, we're going to be returning to our vehicles and using hand sanitizer to again make sure that we don't potentially spread anything from one establishment to another. So what are we asking our restaurants to do during this time? Well, as I mentioned, we've been keeping our ear to the ground for up-to-date information that comes out from the state that advises our operators on how they can and should operate during this time. One of the really cool things that's come out from the state of North Carolina, it's an effort between North Carolina's Agriculture Extension Program, the Restaurant and Lodging Association, and Visit NC, is a program called Count on Me NC. This is a free series of courses that are available to our establishment operators that go over best practices and give them advice on how they can maintain the requirements that are set forth during these times, especially now as we're entering into phase 2 and customers are returning to facilities. So we're encouraging all of our establishment operators to take this course, and it's actually a course that myself and my fellow environmental health specialists on the food and lodging side have taken. Again, it's just a step to say we've received the training, we're dedicated to making sure that we prevent the spread of this virus. So I would encourage you guys to be on the lookout for those Count on Me NC signs and placards in the restaurants. Those are restaurant operators that are doing their part to prevent the spread of coronavirus. So now what can you do to help us in preventing the spread of COVID-19? First and foremost, please stay home if you're sick, or if you're experiencing any of the following symptoms: fever or chills, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headache, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Our establishments are screening their employees for these symptoms before they come to work, but it's up to you, the public, to make sure that you are not bringing anything into the establishment. So please, again, if you experience any of these symptoms or you suspect that you may be ill, please stay home. As the governor said during this time, we are safer at home. So please, if you're experiencing anything like this, do stay home. We're also asking all of our restaurants to abide by social distancing requirements, ensuring that 6 feet of space is kept between individuals. Please help them to achieve this by remaining 6 feet apart from those that are not in your party. This includes while you're in waiting areas, in dining areas, service lines, or even at the tables themselves. It's strongly recommended that party sizes not exceed 10 individuals, unless, of course, your family unit is larger than that. So again, these are recommendations, things that you can do to help our restaurant operators achieve social distancing requirements. Similarly, our restaurants are being asked to operate at 50% of their regular capacity so that social distancing can be maintained. So just please be patient with them as they're trying to work with this. It may mean longer waiting times, but again, as we're trying to support our local businesses as they're reopening, your patience is greatly appreciated. Wash your hands regularly. As I mentioned earlier, this is one of the most important things that you can do to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. If dining at a restaurant that has a buffet, wash your hands before going to the buffet or use the available hand sanitizer that restaurants have put out. And lastly, try to avoid touching high contact surfaces in as much as this is possible. If you have touched these surfaces, ensure that you wash your hands, or if hand washing is not possible, use a hand sanitizer solution. Preventing the spread of coronavirus is something that every member of the community plays a part in. Randolph County Public Health shall continue to work hard to keep you informed of up-to-date and accurate information. Likewise, Food and Lodging will continue to share information with establishments that we work with. This is why public health exists, to preserve, protect, and improve the lives of the people here in Randolph County. And though these are trying times, we will get through them. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and stay safe out there.